Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Coffee and Compliance. We're going to be discussing and answering questions today about the practical side of digital product passports and what your business needs to know to be prepared on time. I'm Holly Waters-Marsh from Urban Fox Marketing, and I'm speaking to Swapan, the CEO of Dply. Today, we're going to be covering why digital product passports are becoming unavoidable for the furniture industry right now, what information furniture manufacturers realistically have to start collecting today, and which regions or markets are driving the demand for digital product passports. For furniture manufacturers, importers, and retailers operating across global markets, digital product passports aren't just another sustainability initiative. They represent a fundamental shift in how products are designed, documented, traded, and trusted by end consumers. Furniture supply chains are complex, and many companies are still relying on fragmented systems, manual processes, and incomplete data. In today's episode, we're focusing on the practicality of digital product passports for the furniture market. How do you engage suppliers to ensure that you're working with the right ones? And how do you get compliant without disrupting your business unnecessarily? Whether exporting to the EU, supplying global retailers, or preparing for future regulations, this conversation is about turning digital product passports from a looming obligation into a structured, manageable process that can give real competitive advantage to a business when the data is used correctly. Timber ID is a platform that looks at unifying compliance rather than just focusing on one, addressing everything from digital product passports and EUDR to RED. But today we're focusing on digital product passports. So let's go back to the initial focus point for our discussion. So first of all, Swapan, why are digital product passports becoming unavoidable for the furniture industry right now?
Okay, good morning, everyone. Yes, as we discussed, the regulatory, which is introducing the digital product passport for various products in the time frame of 26 to 30. So the furniture industry is at the top list, and we've got 18 months more or less to get prepared. So everybody is aware of it, that a passport will come, that the circular economy is the driver for introducing the passports, and that we need to comply. So the general awareness in business, I would say, is there. It's much higher than about the UDR. Then many companies still didn't know what they need to do and how they need to do. So here, I think that it's good that the awareness is there. We can also observe on the market that they're just popping up new and new providers who are saying, we can, publish your digital product web passports on our portals. We can create a blockchain. We can support you on reaching out to the clients. So this part of the approach, which is the end part basically, is quite here today addressed, and you can find a lot of companies and comments and publications on this one. What you cannot find is how you need to prepare yourself to gather accurate data in your digital product passport. And this is the big question mark. Yeah? And one of our approaches is to look at the compliance in our company from overall perspective. So we got UDR, which has been postponed and is coming. Actually, there was an interesting note yesterday that the Commission is preparing all the documentations, the question and answers. So all the simplifications which have been discussed autumn last year will be, I think the details are clear, so no more, surprises will be there. Some few tweaks and more, I would say, the FAQs to get more understanding to the client. So the recommendation is basically here, get prepared. Yeah. Okay, cool. But now when are facing our customers who already last year or even 2024 just began the journey to get UDR, I mean compliant, and they're in the furniture business or they're in the furniture supply chain business. Now they understand that compliance, which is the element of the data you need to gather, is totally different, more detailed, more robust in the digital product passport than it is in the EUDR requirements. Yeah? So now I need to run two processes in the same time because there are two regulations. Yeah. So what is also important to be, said here, a producer where the obligation is, or the importer, where obviously you're importing the product to the EU market, but he needs to get all the data. The passport needs to be anyhow prepared by the producer outside of EU. So the producer has no way then to request from his suppliers accurate data. Yeah? Without getting the right accountability in his supply chain, he'll be unable to prepare this data. So here again we're having back the discussion about the importance of the first mile data and how the supply chain is passing the provenance data, the due diligence processes. So how it's run, because this is the first part of the equation, how to get prepared for the digital product passport. And then we shall address further in our discussion how to do it internally on my production and what are the other still elements to get fully compliant with all the requirements of the structure of the digital product passport.
Yeah. Yeah, as you say, we'll come back to that topic because it's really important. But the next one on our focus areas is, what information do furniture manufacturers realistically have to start collecting today?
There are three basically groups in the digital product passport. One information group is related, as we discussed now, to the supply chains and gathering all the provenance data. Number two, it's for the suppliers of let's say other components for building the furniture, as steel or aluminum components, or other materials as textiles, as leather. So we have a vast group of suppliers whom all we need to engage. So not only from the EUDR level, that's again to make this clear and understanding. Yeah, the digital product passport is engaging all your suppliers of all materials you're using in the production of your product. Yeah? So, and depending on what material group we're talking about, we need to get the relevant information. As an example, we need to get the carbon footprint information from that the suppliers. Yeah? So gathering of data from all suppliers, having the understanding that we're having accurate data, auditable data, because we are liable. We are responsible on the accuracy of our data we're submitting in the product passport. There is no level here of misappropriation. Yeah, we must be 100% sure that once we're placing a product and it is marked with a QR code to a client, we are liable for all the data we have gathered and we've placed for the client to understand the specification of our product, the manual, how to use our product, the instruction how to recycle the product, all the data which are required needs to be really prepared in a good and responsible way. And here, once we're already talking to clients and having our first implementations, it takes really long time to do it. Yeah. So we got 18 months. We today roughly make an assumption that at least like 12 months you will need to implement the entire procedures in your company and be ready to submit the information in the form of the digital product passport.
Yeah. So the message really is to start getting prepared as soon as possible, isn't it? And then which regions or markets are driving the demand for digital product passports?
Obviously, today these are markets which are having the vast majority of the producers. Yeah, so we see them in Poland, we see them in Italy, but obviously we got in all member countries in EU furniture producers. So I'm reading even in the German press that there is an understanding of the need of the digital product passport in the German producers, and they're on the path getting prepared. So here the good story is that nobody's hesitating if to do it or not do it, or having a lot of reservations as it was related to EUDR. On the other hand, we need to understand that we're in a global market, we're in the competitive market. So we got producers mainly in Asia, which are very, very competitive. Yeah, we know it that today we are winning based on the country of origin of production, which is linked with the quality of the material, quality of the product, and now it is still linked with the compliance. Yeah? So our recommendation is use the digital product passport as a new communication channel with your clients. And this topic is very quickly is picked up by the Asian producers. They understand it, and they know that they need to get compliant, otherwise they will be not able to place their products on the EU market. Yeah, or they're also vastly exporting on the US market, which also needs a lot of documentation. I mean, today to be classified, which tariff you need to pay, etc. So. The recommendation is to all EU producers, please be aware the rest of the world is not sleeping. They're even more active, I mean, today than I can observe what's happening within EU. So the good thing is all of you are aware. Now you need to simply onboard, fasten your seatbelt, and get on the flight. Yeah. Waiting is really a bad advice here for you to think to approach it. Maybe somehow, I mean, later, because you will shortly see, and I'm pretty convinced that it will be already in 2026 that there will be placed products on the EU market which will be supported by a digital product, I mean, passport. It's not always to be thinking what is the deadline I must get compliant. Yeah? It's about, oh, let's use the compliance as the vehicle of my brand differentiator, competitive advantage, and be the first one. Not be here the last one with the product on the market. Our recommendation is, and we see it, you will be liable to multiple regulations. And once you can handle all of them simultaneously on one platform, and support all your activities, you will see that from a burden, as most of you today are thinking, why I need to do it is additional. I had not to do it in the past. It's always, we are constantly in a change, in a mode of change. Yeah. So let's adopt to change. Changes are already are happening, and will happen. So we cannot avoid, I mean, changes. We need to adapt to changes. And a very important change, which is coming really, and should get on our radar screen to a high level, is the compliance. Compliance you need to use as the tool to build your brand reputation.
Definitely. Okay, so looking at the further questions, the first one follows on nicely from what you've just been talking about. So which steps do businesses need to follow to implement digital product passports?
I mean, the specification of the data is clear. It was announced, so you know exactly what you need to share. That's the easy part. The more difficult part is related to how to gather this information and how to be accountable for the information. Yeah, because I think that's the important one. So as I mentioned already, it's not only the task of the producers, is the task of the entire, I mean, supply chain. Yeah. So I like to base on examples. In one EU country, we have an implementation of our Timber ID platform on the EUDR, which happened last year. But the company is formatting the bolts for furniture producers. So that's their work. They're buying from the large producers, board OSB board producers. Yeah, OSB bolts is one of the major components in furnitures we can find. Yeah. So and then they are simply splitting them into the right sizes for their clients. Yeah. So they will be the first asked by the furniture producers, please share with me all data which I must have. Yeah. And now understanding that and understanding the complexity of the processes, they already know that in their production process, it's not easy to get all the relevant traceability. It will take really months in implementing all required processes. So this is one area. The other area is related to their suppliers. So, okay, we got not making advertisement to any of the large, everybody knows whom I'm talking about, large OSB boats producers, the billion-euro the companies. They also now cannot think about EUDR, must think about a digital product, I mean, passport, and how they will be able to deliver the reliable and verifiable informations to their buyers. So as mentioned, all the stakeholders in a supply chain must understand that they need to have a good collaboration and accountability to meet all the objectives and requirements which are needed. And basically, just to have it very, I mean, clear, the furniture manufacturer will be not able to purchase a product in the future without this data because he cannot produce his item. Huh?
Yeah. And you've mentioned already how complex this is. So how do you pull all this data and put these steps into an action plan that you can roll out into the business?
To make a very simple and quick answer, ask for a free consultancy from us, get a quick demo of Timber ID, sign up and get implemented. Yeah. So we know how to support you and we know how to do it. It's really very difficult to discuss that in details. What I can say, you need to understand it, first of all, as a project-based, I mean, task. Yeah. So you need to create your documentation of the procedures. You need to create your team. You need to have an action plan, roles and responsibilities. So understanding this one, you need to know that you need to involve your current employees. You cannot find someone external because your current employees know the processes in your company. So what portion of time you can take of them to get them in this project about the digital product and passport, yeah. And once we will discuss it still, how to prepare the bill of materials, yeah. So we today observe that the clients are having robust ERP systems, production modules. That's great. That's not related to compliance. Yeah? So here we're talking about how we're building the workflow to have the right documentation, compliance documentation linked with the product.
Okay. And how granular does product data need to be? So looking at components, material, batch, or is it even down to SKU level?
Oh yeah, it's even we are providing as much as possible automation. It still is a topic which needs to be led by someone on a production. Yeah. So to give an example, your product which you're producing under a certain index, yeah, can have different material sources. So it means the data in a digital product passport are different. Yeah. So today you're just using your inventory and you're happy. Tomorrow you need to distinguish. So every production batch needs to have the right link with the materials which are being used. And this has to be linked with all the compliance data which are in the system that you can build the data for the digital product passport. Yeah? And just think about a human error in production. Yeah. So your batch number, for example, is partially a waste. Yeah. How do you handle it in the process? Yeah. In the accounting is easy. Okay, that's the percentage of waste. You just put it aside. You have your processes. Yeah, it's fine. But now, within the compliance element, you need to understand what's happening with the material which has been sourced from your inventory. You will reuse it. You will scrap it 100%. So I'm just going in details just to trying to emphasize how complex it is and how detailed it is in order to put all those procedures in place. And that's why it requires really a lot of time to make it accurate.
Yeah. And what buffers do you need to build into that process?
The bill of material, basically, which is the specification of the product, is the workflow based on the material flow within the company. That is the thing which we are having our know-how how to address it, and it is on a customization. I mean level. Yeah, it's like to give an example, which clients will understand. You're implementing ISO, yeah. So you need to build your processes, and then you need to fulfill them. Yeah, exactly. Here the same thing. Yeah, you're putting your processes to gather the right data in a bill of materials, and then you need to implement them. Yeah, that's why it is a level of customization. Yeah, where every producer has different machinery, different internal processes existing. I mean, today, not speaking about the variety of items they're producing. Yeah, just talk to one. In their item index are in hundreds. Yeah,
Mhm.
so the more products you're producing, the more it is complex to to get it right on the compliance part.
Mm. And in terms of that complexity, how do furniture companies trace complex products made from multiple materials and suppliers?
That's exactly the this topic. Yeah. Today they do not. Today they do not. Today even many producers are using Excel for understanding their bill of materials. Yeah. So the production, I mean, modules in the ERP systems today are addressing different areas, looking more on the turnaround of inventory, looking on the waste percentage, yeah, looking at different focus areas which are needed to the production managers, the CFOs, the CEOs, yeah. And now, how are you going to link your compliance documentation, yeah? And here maybe also to make it, I mean, clear with there are a lot of companies opening widely their eyes, yeah. Once you will understand what's your risk assessment and mitigation process built on the structure of relevant information, you'll find out that you're talking about between 10 to 20 documents you need to gather on a transaction level, yeah? You need to understand what is the scope of these documents. You need to assess them if they are legal, etc., etc. So compliance is not an exercise just as a automation in an ERP system. Yeah, you need a human interference. There are some AI tools you can use to, let's say, automate some, but not many, because we know AI is good to have, or as the Americans say, nice to have, but still a human, the common sense and look is required here to get it everything in the right mode. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot today about the complexity and the data needed and the processes. But how are companies addressing potential risks, so financial risks, for example, that could impact their business?
That's an excellent question, which needs, I think, a long discussion. We're all aware that the role of the CFO in the company, always in the budgeting for next financial year, is to understand what are the potential, I mean, risks and simply have mitigation actions. So compliance, if it was not on the list, it should come to the list. Because as an example, I don't know if everybody is aware or not, there is environmental crime regulation. So it's not only to understand for the purpose of having a good accountability and having the relevant data in your digital product, I mean, passport. You're basically, as a CEO and CFO, liable that you really are not sourcing material coming from illegal deforestation. It was being addressed within the EUDR. On the other hand, is being also addressed by other regulations. We have now the RED 3 regulation, which is also addressing a lot of compliance issues. We're having PFCFSC certifications. We're having chain of custody certifications. Yeah, we're all talking about data which we need to keep in one platform and manage it in the most efficient and effective way, understanding that we are liable for the data, and let's better get them in the right mode and have minimalized our risks, because our role is to minimize all what's possible to avoid any potential just penalties or any other liabilities issues.
Brilliant. Thank you, Swapan. That brings us to the end of this episode of Coffee and Compliance. So thank you everybody again for joining us today. Just as a summary, then, we've looked at what data we need and the processes we need to follow to successfully comply with digital product passports and how that can be rolled out throughout the company effectively, as well as thinking about timelines. and planning that in. So now we've got this information, as Swapan just touched on, we need to understand what the bottlenecks can be and consider what the contingencies could be in order to access the market. So join us again next Thursday, the 29th of January at 9:30 GMT, and we're going to be looking at those risks involved in preparing for compliance with digital product passports and what the costs could be associated with that. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Goodbye.